Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Game Hub. I'm your host, Gamer K, and it's time for another Top 13 video. I love doing these. I get to actually voice my opinion on stuff. Okay, basically this whole thing is me voicing my opinion, but I get to narrowly do it right. Whereas with my game and DLC reviews, I'm kind of relying on my cliff notes, and usually I forget a lot of stuff. Where the top 13, I just have my list of characters, and I just pretty much ad-lib the entire thing. And since it's the week after Valentine's Day, and this video is obviously after Valentine's Day, I was originally going to do a top 13 couples video. Like a top 13, I have my top 13 TV show couples and top 13 animated couples. But I have a lot of shows to catch up on those lists before I can fully make a determination. So those ones will hopefully be out next year. And this time, we're going to be going into the wonderful world of Disney and counting down my favorite female characters. And I'm going to say this. Yes, there's going to be a lot of princesses on here. And oh boy, this is going to be weird. I'm basically going over all the women in Disney animated series from Disney and Pixar, and basically going over why I like each one of them. And I know a lot of people who do videos like this go off of looks and everything, and yeah, that will be a factor not mostly, but a big factor will also be their personalities, their whole overall plot in the story, and how they kind of develop, and their whole personality changes throughout their movie. And yeah, this list is probably one of the most odd ones I've got. Well, not the most odd video I've ever done, but it's definitely a topic that a lot of people don't really do that well. So, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and enjoy Gamer K's Top 13 Disney Pixar female characters. And why Top 13? Because here at the Game Hub, only the odd can be number one. Yeah, starting off this list is one of a really good princess, even though she's not royal in any sense, but still a great character nonetheless. She's a funny girl, that Belle. Belle is an amazing character, and her story is, I don't fully understand it a little bit. I mean, her and her father came to this small village, and she's the only odd one because she reads. I could make a joke about certain countries about that, but I don't want to start a riot. But overall, I do like Belle, her personality, and everything that she does in the movie. She's kind at heart, and she's the first one to pretty much tell off an asshole when he's being one. Case in point, Gaston and Beast. And I love her little quips at Gaston right in the beginning of the movie. I love her one comment when she calls him positively primeval. And his response is, "Why, thank you, Belle." It's little things like that in old Disney that I really love, the little quips. And I like Belle because, okay, yeah, good looking, absolutely. In both her regular attire and her that yellow ball gown. That is beautiful. And anytime they do it in live action, it 100% works. Get out of here. I am not talking about you. I'm talking about the one from Once Upon a Time with Rumple and Belle, and that was beautiful. So yeah, I really do love Belle as a character, and her whole love of books and her dedication to kind of understanding the Beast a little bit. And I want to put some people down right now about this whole thing, because a YouTuber I watched did this, and I'm going to say this as well. I'm sick of the jokes. It is not Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome is when the kidnap victim changes for the kidnapper. In this, Beast changes for Belle. He changes for her, which is not Stockholm Syndrome. And don't do that whole horrible bosses 2 thing. It's reverse Stockholm Syndrome. For one thing, it's not. She agreed to take her father's place, and they ended up falling for each other in the smallest of ways. I do love that. Only thing I'm kind of why she's lower on the list. I mean, I know her love in her partner, her boyfriend isn't a big factor in this judging, but considering of how long it, like, we don't really get a big time frame of how long she was with the Beast Castle, because for one thing, so it took Maurice a while to get out of the woods and go to the tavern in Gaston. And again, I'm going to say this, we have that Christmas movie, which I love to no end. It kind of screws up the whole time frame of that, so that's kind of why Belle's a little bit lower on the list, because of the time frame of how long it took her and the Beast to kind of fall for each other. It's beautiful, and it's a tale as old as time, but it's kind of ordinary for an unordinary girl. Okay, why am I starting to think of Mona the Vampire right now? Yeah. Next! Who says sweet can't be bitter at the same time? This character is one of my absolute favorites. Vanellope von Schweetz from Wreck-It Ralph. I loved this character before I found that she was a princess. I loved Vanellope. I love her spunk. I love her attitude. I love how she's not, that she doesn't take crap from anyone. And I love her design overall, having the little bits of sweets in her hair. I love the kind of cherry nose a little bit, like she sneezes because she's a glitch, so in a sense she's sick. And I love her skirt because it's based on a Reese's peanut butter cup. That is freaking adorable. I'm not gonna lie, that is absolutely adorable. And I love her throughout the movie of how she wants to be a racer, but everyone just pushes her down. And I love characters like that. I love characters that are knocked down and then they get back up. And the revenge that she kind of takes on them after she's discovered to be a princess, it's done really, really well. Now, and also her car is amazing, and I just love her connection with Ralph and how they kind of bonded, being somewhat misfits in their own right, and then discovering that they're perfect just the way they are. And that's one thing I love. Now, I know what you're thinking. If I love her so much, why is she right near the bottom of the list? Okay. I'm trying to find out how to say this correctly. I just found that she kind of got ripped off. Kind of. I mean, the second movie wasn't bad, but it just... I don't understand it all the way. I really don't. I mean, yeah, she gets to be in a brand new... I mean, yeah, after a while, she got sick and tired of the same exact courses in her game, and I get that. Sometimes a lot of repetition is a bad thing, and then she decided to go into this Last of Us Fallout, what's that other game called? Apocalyptic racing game, online game. I do love that she loves it because of the unique, because it's always different. And I do love that she became in that game. I do love it. My big problem is that they ruined one of the best Disney princesses ever by doing the cliche that she got a song. That's my only complaint about Vanellope. I love that she got and had a slumber party with the other princesses. I love that. Actually, I think a bunch of my friends love that too because they all did a set around that too. But my whole thing is they ruined her by giving her a song which is right out of character with Vanellope. I mean, everything else was great. I mean, no one on this list is terrible. There's just a couple gripes of why they're at that part of the list. So, Vanellope, I hope you enjoyed your slaughter race because I don't think we'll be seeing you anytime soon. Okay, this one is a little bit of an odd choice. And especially because it's from one of my favorite Pixar movies. The Incredibles. Okay, yes, stop. I already know that they're up there. And as shocking as this is going to sound, no. It's not Helen or Violet. Yeah, I know. Edna Mode. Hey, it's my freaking list, and I have reasons for why. Okay, yeah, Helen and Violet are fantastic characters in both movies. Violet comes out of her shell more, Helen decides, and I do like how the minute Helen gets to the island, she punches the woman who she thinks stole her man. And I like how in the first one it kind of shows that the romance between those two is still alive, and I love it. I absolutely love it. But Edna is a special breed of character, and I freaking love her. I love how, even though she's not the main in both movies, the bits that she's in. It's kind of like that one character, how they're only on for a little bit, but then they steal the absolute hell out of the show. I mean, Edna just going through all the heroes that have died, and that's why she doesn't do capes and designs. I 100% agree. And when she was showing Helen the new super suits for the rest of the family, just the sheer excitement in her face as Helen's kind of scared. That describes a whole list of people who are like that. And then when she's forced to watch Jack in the second movie, there is absolutely nothing that changes in Edna's personality. She's the fashionista, she's the designer, she acts like she's all superior. Because she is. Edna Mode is an absolute gem of a character. And that's all I gotta say about that. Edna Mode, you're fabulous, darling, and no superhero can take that away from you. Okay, I'm staying a little bit more into Pixar at this moment, and this one's gonna come off a little bit weird as a pick, but at the same time, I have my reasons. Paris. City of Love. City of Lights. The city of the worst, one of the worst Assassin's Creed movies ever. Games ever, not movie. And home to one of, again, another of my favorite Pixar films, Ratatouille. For those of you who are caught up, yes, I am talking about Colette. I freaking loved her when I first saw this movie because she was a realistic character. And again, I'm kind of not shocked that they did the whole, oh my God, they're going to end up together or something, because that's the kind of thing Disney and Pixar always do. And I still love this movie wholeheartedly because of its message, because of the animation, because of the food that they come out with. Seriously, I want to do that Ratatouille. Absolutely. I want to try it. But what makes me love Colette? Whoops. Oh, no, wait, actually, no, I'm on the right track. Never mind. My bad. My eye kind of skipped my list a little bit and thought I went off one, but I'm good. What makes me love Colette so much she doesn't have, she's on screen a lot and she does have a lot of scenes, but it's not like she's as on screen as a lot of the other females on this list. But what really makes me love her is because in order to explain it, yeah, she's forced to help Linguini out after she kind of sticks up for him when he makes the soup that the critic loved and is told to kind of help him with his work and show him the ropes. Colette shows Linguini and by association Remy of how serious she is. I don't know when Ratatouille takes place, but she basically says that technically where they are, in high-end restaurants, it is still technically really hard for women to be taken seriously in a kitchen, especially in a high-class restaurant like Cousteau's. So when Linguini gets lucky, she just warns him that she's not going to jeopardize everything she worked for him. And I do love that. I do love how she's kind of hard and cold, because that's kind of the environment that you have to be in a professional kitchen setting. I took culinary when I was in college for 5 years, mostly because I was in a program where it kind of diluted the work for me. But I can see how difficult it is to be in a kitchen setting. Nowadays things are a little bit better and women are perceived more in the kitchen, but from where I can stand in that, I can kind of see the shit that she went through. And without explaining her backstory, I understand. They didn't even have to show like a flashback of what happened, because with the little bits of dialogue we get, apparently like she was betrayed by someone she trusted, and she was afraid of that happening again. And I feel that. And that's why I love Colette. She's such an amazing, strong female character. She's not even the lead. Barely the lead of this movie. And upon the end, where she finally sees peace with Remy and Linguini, it's done really, really well. And her personality throughout the movie is done justice as well. She's on the lower end of the list because, like I said, she's not that much in the movie. She's not really the lead. But when she's on screen, yeah, you're going to get your ass handed to you by this amazing chef. C'est la vie. I don't know what it is, but women who can cook and cook well, yeah, you pretty much got my attention. And finally, another female character who isn't a princess right from the get-go. Actually, yeah, there's actually only a couple princesses on this list who are actually princesses by blood and by knowing it. But this character proves that hard work and knowing what you have means more than what you need. Tiana from The Princess and the Frog is one of my absolute favorite characters. And no, I'm not just saying this because she's taking over the new Splash Mountain ride at Disney. I'm all for it because it fully fits. And Tiana in her movie, she is amazing. She's basically the only representation of a real woman in modern day. Working constant jobs, not having a lot of time to sleep, not having a lot of time for friends. And I get that. I love her for that because it kind of shows what some people actually go through. And then we go to her friend Charlotte, who is an absolute, I don't want to say ditz, but an absolute spoiled brat who thinks everything will be handed to you just if you wish on it enough without putting in any of the hard work. But I do love the contrast between these two. And Tiana, oh my God, what I wouldn't give to have one of those beignets. Oh my God. I've never had a beignet in my life, and I want to because of this movie. What is it about Disney movies that always makes me feel hungry? Anyway, another thing I love about Tiana is even when she was she spends most of the movie in frog form, and she still has the sass and the absolute balls to tell a prince to get to work and have no problem doing it multiple times. And I do love the whole thing with Naveen and Tiana and how he starts to slowly fall for her, because usually it's the princess that kind of falls for the male first, and the male character. And I absolutely love that. But here, I love that Naveen was struck by her boldness and her determination to work. And I do really, really, really love Tiana. Her personality, her commitment to getting what not what she wants, but to go after that dream no matter how many naysayers go against her and how much she sacrifices. That is a fantastic woman, and I'm not lying about that. Amazing woman, amazing character. And the proof is in the gumbo. Man, that was a lame joke. I'm really starting to lay low on the jokes here. But you know what? Next up. Okay, I pretty much got hit for my reaction to this princess in a villainous guide I did last year. So I don't want to gawk as much as I did last time. What was it, a couple seconds? A princess who wants to have her own life and live on... Okay, I don't really know where I'm going with this, but Princess Jasmine from Agrabah, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely one of the most... You know what? I love every single Disney princess. No flaws about them. But what gets Jasmine right on this list is... Right from the beginning of the movie, we kind of get the whole law that the princess must marry a prince and all that stuff. And I like how Jasmine isn't so forward about that. I do love that. And just the way she gets that one prince out of there quickly, and how defiant she is about towards her father. Not in a big disrespectful way, but more in how she wants her own life kind of thing. And I do really, really, really love that. It speaks to her character. It sets a tone throughout the movie. Although it kind of does give a whole thing to women about marrying a guy who's kind of penniless. But overall, love wins. And one thing I do love about Jasmine overall, and it's not the outfit from later in the movie, although that really helps, it's not that bad, is how the scene when Prince Ali shows up and him, Jafar, and the Sultan are kind of talking about her life as if they have a say in it. I love how she calls each one of them out on it, and it's brilliant. I do love women characters who aren't the delicate wallflowers majority of the time, and the ones that can step up for themselves. I absolutely love it. And also, how romantic she can kind of be with Aladdin, and then sweeps the rug right from under him in their first encounter majority of the times. But I do like how they're kindred spirits a little bit. How she's the princess but locked in. How he's a street rat wanting more. And they basically are kind of the same person in different ways, but in philosophy more. And I do love how it's before the Whole New World song and right at the end that she kind of puts it together that it's him and calls him out on his BS, even though he kind of BS's over that, and she buys it until right at the end. And that she loves him no matter what, even though he wasn't a real prince. I still love that. Oh, Jasmine made us all a part of her world. And it's always good to see what happens next. Yeah, not this Jasmine. I'm talking about the actual one. Yeah. Oh, boy. It's because of this Disney princess is why I'll never trust any woman I like or hope to date in the future with a frying pan. Yeah, Rapunzel's on this list, and fairly so, she's on this list. Rapunzel being... Every time I watch this movie, I always kind of get the same feeling of Hunchback of Notre Dame, just with a different twist. And I do love that. Although, I'm going to say 18 years in a tower... I'm just going to say this. And no more stupid jokes. Full analysis. Rapunzel is that one kindred spirit who loves the outside world but doesn't know about the outside world outside of what her mother has told her. And it's always great to see these princess characters have a different, I want to say, tone and kind of, okay, what I'm trying to get at is the scene where she's experiencing everything from the ruffians to just being outside. I love that we are experiencing that with her, because that's half the enjoyment of loving a character, is whenever they're experiencing something new, we're experiencing something with them. It's not like every time Mother Gothel left, she would sneak out and go into the grounds outside of the tower, which I'm glad they didn't do that whole thing. Like, she was too afraid to go out, and the word of her mother always scared her. But it was Eugene who got her outside, and the first 5 minutes of her outside, yeah, I kind of made a joke about that a long time ago, and yeah, not making it again. But overall, just her, and then her at Corona, the kingdom, just experiencing the festival and just discovering who she is and everything, it just makes me love Rapunzel even more. And she's an absolute gem, and every time she was in a sad mood or anything, tell me you didn't want to just give her a hug, because that's how wholesome she is. And overall, the series of Tangled, even though I didn't watch all of it, I still like that she still has the personality to boot. So, Rapunzel, you are a golden beacon for female characters of Disney. But to be honest, I'm pretty sure we all love you better as a brunette. I'm sorry, are you guys tired of badass female characters already? Well, too bad, because this one is going to make a man out of you. Oh boy, that sounded kind of wrong. That's right, Mulan, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, I am not talking about the disaster that was that live action movie. Wow, I'm really digging into the live action movies a lot this video. Who cares? Mulan is an absolute gem. Wholeheartedly an absolute gem of a Disney character, of a Disney female. A Disney character nonetheless, but a Disney female mostly. Because, yeah, the whole tradition thing in China, I mean, yeah, it's that kind of she starts off as that cookie cutter thing where it's a traditional world and she's the only oddball that kind of thumbs her nose at the traditional stuff, which I do love. And even though her father does love how much of a free spirit she is, and I love that, but it's the scene where he kind of goes overboard with the whole know your place thing. That's what pushes her so much to the edge, and I love it. Everything about Mulan just screams power. It screams confidence. Except for when she was first in the army, when she had none of that. And that's what I think makes Mulan such an amazing character in and of itself. She wasn't a tomboy to start off with. She wasn't good with martial arts. She wasn't good with fighting. She was just the free spirit who didn't want to do the traditional girly things in China. I mean, she knew how to play Chinese checkers, which I guess is somewhat of an oddity. She spoke her mind, didn't matter who she was speaking to, and I love that. And again, same thing with Rapunzel. We get to experience Mulan being in the army with her. Because it's not like she was good at martial arts or fighting to begin with. She had to learn all of this in order to become the badass that she is. And I love that. It's called development. Because if she was that before, there would be no amazing moments through the song I'll Make a Man Out of You where she does the arrow challenge and succeeds. Or, she fails at all the other challenges in the beginning, but then she gets better and better as they kind of push each other. And then she not only gets the respect of Shang, but also the respect of the other soldiers within her troop. And I can't stress it enough. Mulan does everything possible to become that tomboy character that Disney kind of doesn't have that much of. And I'm glad that Mulan was a pioneer in that. And also, she took on the big badass Hun. Okay, yeah, she kind of won thanks to Mushu a little bit. But still, she had an absolute plan. And I love it. I just love Mulan as a character, as an inspirational role model, and just a woman that shows that sometimes your reflection isn't what you are. I had to go from one tomboy right into the other, didn't I? Yep, I think you guys know who I'm talking about when when you say the words Disney Pixar females and tomboy in the same category, who mostly comes up to mind outside of Mulan? Really? None of you can guess? Well, would you like to change your fate? Yeah, I can't do accents that well. Any case, I'm going with everyone's favorite curly-haired badass, Merida. She is basically everything that Disney and Pixar, everything about other Disney princesses, except pushed to the absolute goddamn limit. And I think she's an amazing character. Brave is one of my favorite underrated Pixar movies because, yeah, there's not really that much of a villain. There's not much of a intricate story or anything like that. But Merida as a character is perfect enough that all that other stuff can be thrown out the window. She's a girl who loves the violent stuff, and being the older sibling, and then she had her three triplet brothers. I love how in the beginning her father kind of encouraged this behavior of her love of archery and sword fighting and horseback riding. And the opening song that we get and the opening transition, after the whole when after she's a child, we see, yeah, she's a princess, but she does not like the girly stuff. She loves having her hair all curled. She loves doing the athletic stuff, and I absolutely love her. Yeah, she can be a little bit naive half the time, especially giving her mother a potion that you get from a witch. No, I'm sorry. Do they need to have a big neon sign when it comes to witches in this that say, "Do not trust"? Okay, yeah, the witch wasn't necessarily evil. She's just kind of trying to teach the kid a lesson, which I get. But at the same time, oh, good, dear Lord. Yeah, she's a fantastic character. But yeah, a little dim. Okay, not dim, but naive. But the one thing I do love about Merida, outside of her red hair locks and her badass attitude, is how she takes a stand towards her mother. And yeah, maybe this is why a lot of Disney princesses don't have their mothers. Hey, I'm just saying. She may be one of the only ones that actually has her mother, except for Tiana and Rapunzel. Okay, yeah, Tiana wasn't really a princess until she got married, so yeah, you guys know what I mean. The whole tournament of the 3 suitors that will decide whether or not who she marries. I do love how she chooses the challenge and then basically says she's fighting for her own hand to decide whatever she wants to do. And the one thing that you guys, I don't think anyone noticed, is how her father sat in his seat the whole time, seeing how this was going to turn out, while her mother was against the whole thing, and she ended up winning the challenge herself. The thing I love about Merida is how she's the other Disney princess characters pushed to the 11. She's defiant outright, and she doesn't play the role that she's supposed to be. She plays the role she wants, disregarding what her mom tells her to do of how to be a proper woman. Yeah, that's why she's high on this list. But there are a couple other female characters that are just a little bit higher on the list because of how badass they are. So, I gotta admit, Merida, you're a badass, you're good with a bow and arrow, and you basically killed a giant undead bear. Yeah. Okay. We are completely going away from the Disney princess section for the top list. Yeah. No more princesses. Absolutely not. No more princesses. And now we're going to talk about one of my favorite female characters from all of Disney. And in order to do this, we're going to have to go back about 20 years or so. And this character has a lot of qualities that a lot of the other characters on this list have, but in an extreme circumstance. Yeah. I am talking about the badass Nani from Lilo and Stitch. Yeah, I know a lot of you people are shaking your heads and thinking, wait, what? Really? Yeah, because when you consider all the facts about Nani, yeah, Lilo's a pain in the ass. I'm not gonna lie. If she was my little sister, I would have half a mind to throw her into. Wait, am I allowed to say it? Okay, good. I would have half a mind to throw her into the dryer, or the cabinet with a pizza box. I still don't understand that edit. But at the same time, Nani is a fantastic character in all the ways that I'm going to mention. Not only is she a responsible adult, and it's kind of a real life, almost like Tiana and Colette. This can be a real life circumstances for a lot of people in the world. Nani being the older sibling whose parents tragically died, and now she's trying to keep her sister with her fighting social services, trying to find a job, having all that responsibility, not just to be the older sister, but to be a mother as well. And it wasn't brought to my attention until a couple of years ago about the hidden stuff that people noticed. I mean, I didn't notice this based on the TV series because I love the series. But Nani was a championship surfer. Because of all the trophies that are in her room, she had to give all that up to take care of Lilo. And that is something that is absolutely amazing. That is something I really, really love. And again, being the sister and mother, she has to deal double the duty with taking care of Lilo and having to deal with everything that happens, plus the social services thing. It's terrifying having worried that your little sister could be taken because you're seen as unfit to raise her. It was stuff like that in Lilo and Stitch that scared me. From losing her job to not finding a job. It hurt. And all the little bits of moments with Nani and Lilo in the movie, from the scene in the hammock to after their big argument, it fucking hurts just to watch it again, and it really does hurt. Okay, and yeah, the series kind of underplayed that whole thing. I mean, yeah, she did have a job, and then she got a better job, so she was able to do more of that. And I gotta admit, Nani does everything right. Even though Lilo is a pain in the ass, there are people in the world who would say, you know what, let social services handle it. I have my own life. But the way they went about it with Nani and Lilo, it absolutely hits a certain form of reality for some people in the world. And it just shows that family means more than anything. And that is why Nani is right near the top of the list. But there are 3 people who kind of beat her out. Not because they're better than her, but because things are a little bit different. So let's continue on. Yeah, I'm surprised one of my favorite Disney girl ever isn't at the very top of this list. But bless my soul, this girl's on a roll. And she won't say she's in love, but, oh, God. Yeah, you guys know who I'm talking about. And it may be my Greek heritage talking here, but Megara from Hercules is my number 3 pick. I mean, okay, yeah, most of it is her looks, most of it is her looks. Like, 40%. Yeah, I know that's not a lot, but this is where she gets better. From the moment we meet her, yeah, I had to do some digging, and it turns out she is 3 years older than Hercules at this. So, seeing since he's 18 here, she's 21, basically, so not that different. And I do love how, unlike a lot of the female characters ever, she's not a damsel in distress. And yeah, that classic line. And yeah, Megara, you're just a badass girl in purple, and you have freaking attitude and swagger to go with it. And every young boy who watched Hercules for the first time instantly fell in love with you. And I was one of them. From her badass attitude, from her carefree life a little bit. Okay, yeah, half the time she kind of had to manipulate Hercules a little bit as part of her deal with Hades. But the one thing I do love about Meg is her backstory is basically shown a little bit in a small scene of Hades explaining it. And it shows that Megara's a lot of people in the world. Like, she did what she could to save the person that she cared for, and she got betrayed, and she never wanted to feel that way again and trust someone like that again. And that's one thing I kind of love about Meg. Like, she doesn't, like, she had her heart on her sleeve before, but now she has to keep it all locked up and hidden away out of fear of being hurt again. And I do love how, yeah, Hercules not really seeing a gorgeous woman before kind of becomes a lovesick puppy when he first meet her and everything. And I do love the flirtatious banter between her and Hercules throughout the movie. And I always love it. And it's their date scene that always gets me, how she's trying everything possible to get him to say what his weakness is. And I do mean almost anything. And I do not think a Disney character would have been allowed to do this in nowadays. But, oh, bless my soul. But what makes Meg a really amazing character is, as she starts to see that Hercules isn't like most guys, she starts to really start to like him again, and like him, and like someone in general. And out of worry that her betrayal near the end kind of damaged everything, in a quick instant, she does the one thing that she did before, did what she could to protect the person she cared about. And yeah, it cost her for a little bit, but at the end, I freaking love it. She's one of my favorite female characters, favorite female Disney characters, and definitely one of my top favorite crushes, cartoon crushes. I just hope people like Meg in the real world can find their Wonder Boy, who makes everything so great for them. And hopefully they can say that they're in love again. Yeah, that's all I gotta say for that. Next. Another girl in the Disney world who doesn't take crap from anyone and lives life her own way. And good God, what an entrance she gave. Seriously, is this legal? Is this legal now? I'm talking about from one of my favorite underrated Disney movies ever, that I'm pretty sure if they did a live action version, they'd have to cut a bunch of this stuff, just like if they do a live action Hercules. I am talking about Esmeralda from Hunchback of Notre Dame. This badass woman gives 0 Fs on the entire loss in Paris. How she tricks them, how she absolutely destroys them in some of the scenes is glorious. And then when she meets Phoebus, her comebacks are absolutely hilarious and in character to her being her free spirit, but also being an absolute badass. And then, as if her personality and her good looks and her motivations of wanting to be a free person doesn't justify her being on the list enough, it's her outright, again, much like a lot of the other females on this list, her outright defiance to authority for good reason. She calls out the corruption and the hypocrisy of the citizens, and especially Frollo and the law, and it's done at 100% believable. And yeah, if we could just talk about that freaking scene during the Feast of Fools, oh my god, holy shit. Absolutely yes. And why hasn't this been in Villainous yet? Come on, people. But yeah, Esmeralda is that kind-hearted character. And one thing I love about Hunchback is how it shows the reverse. How a law-abiding and stature man like Frollo can be the dark and twisted evil that he says he fights, to Esmeralda being the gypsy who was always seen as evil and a thief and liars, to being one of the most kind-hearted individuals that Disney has ever given us. And it gives a lot of guys hope that there are good people like that in the world, and it's not all just BS. And I am a little pissed off that she ended up with Phoebus, but at the same time, yeah, it's a lot better than the actual story. Except they didn't have to do the goddamn direct-to-DVD sequel where they have a kid and water down her character to no end. Seriously, her character in the sequel is like watered-down marinara weak sauce. Oh my god, I want to forget about that whole thing. But overall, Esmeralda gets the number 2 spot because of how caring she is, how absolute stunning she is, and and her character fits for the time of the movie and a free-spirited character. It perfectly fits. And now let's see who my number 1 is. I was this close to keeping this character below the number 3 spot. But after thinking everything over, this character, much like Esmeralda, much like Nani, much like Mulan, much like Colette, much like Tiana, much like a good majority of the characters in this list, there are people like this in the world who go through the crap that this number 1 pick has gone through. From being ignored, overlooked, feeling abandoned by people who are supposed to love you unconditionally. I think a lot of people kind of feel this way once in their life, and having an attitude and personality to match, yeah. From the family madrigal, we have Mirabelle. I don't have a lot to say about Mirabelle because everything I just said right up until now is everything. To be the only one in your family who didn't get a special gift, but I don't think that's true. I think a lot of people are correct when Mirabelle, her personality does change the house. I kind of agree with that. I mean, she does everything she can for her abuela to care about her the same way she cares about the others in the family, but doesn't because she doesn't have a gift. And I think it's at the point where her younger cousin is getting his gift that she starts to feel left out again and unwanted. I feel that a lot. Although, to be honest, I more tag along more with Bruno, but that's a list for another topic for another time, maybe. What Mirabelle does is try her hardest for the family, but it's never enough. And I think a lot of people can really sympathize with a character like that. And then after going through everything she goes through to try and figure out what the heck happened, and mostly figuring out and trying to help with her sisters, because that song with Luisa was perfect, and she kind of understood the pressure that her sister was under to have to be strong all the time, and Isabella having to be perfect all the time. It puts a strain on people. And my one favorite scene in this movie is when she meets her Theo, because in Greek we call him Theo. When she meets her Uncle Bruno and understands the whole story, and when she tries to get forgiveness from Isabella, they really do connect again. And then her abuela the one thing that pisses me off, but also energizes me at the same time is every time their abuela is on screen, she always dismisses Mirabel outright in front of everyone, and no one stands up to her. It's not until near the end of the movie where Mirabel finally has had enough that no one is perfect enough for her, but she constantly does it for all the members of the family because she's the head of the family or something. But Mirabel finally puts her foot down and stands up for herself. Not just for herself, but for her uncle, for her sisters. And it's a moment I absolutely loved. Wholeheartedly. Mirabel is a character that is 100% realistic to practically being invisible in your own family for one reason or another. It hits hard with it hits hard with me and a lot of other people in the world. So yeah, Mirabel hits all the checks on what makes a great female character. She's empowering. She defies authority. She does what she wants because she believes it's right. She seeks the truth no matter how many times people tell her to let it go or stop. She does what she did to protect not just herself, but to help her family. And that's what makes her a fantastic character. Because family is important to her regardless of how she's treated. And that's what makes Mirabel a fantastic character, a fantastic role model, and my number one favorite Disney Pixar female character. What more can I say? But yeah. And that's it for this list, ladies and gentlemen. What do you guys think? Do you guys think I was a little bit onto something with some of these characters, a little bit off the mark? And yeah, I wasn't putting anyone from Frozen on here because everyone on this list pretty much capsizes the two sisters. Well, thank you for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, like, comment, subscribe down below, and join me next week where we're heading back to the games of Nancy Drew, and hopefully this next video won't be a last resort. This is Gamer K, logging out.